From Lagos.
You are journey from Lagos. Wow. Wow. Daniel, where are you joining from? Daniel, where are you joining Digital Z Hub from? Let's start introducing ourselves before we take off properly. Daniel, where are you joining from? Mr. Matthew. Okay, I think Mr. Matthew, you said you joined from, was it Port Harcourt? I don't think if I've asked him. Mr. Matthew, where are you joining from? Again, sorry. Daniel, where are you joining from? Go ahead. Go ahead, Daniel.
I'm joining from Port Harcourt, sir. I'm joining
Okay.
from Port Harcourt, sir.
Okay, okay. It's Daniel that joined from Port Harcourt. Mr.
Yeah,
Matthew,
mine is journey from Nasarawa State.
Nasarawa State. Wow. Wow. Sanu Dezua. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
from,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Get
from,
that.
I'm from Edo. I'm from Edo. I don't know how to speak
Oh, oh,
that.
sorry. You can see you that even live there, you don't even know how to speak. Me that I'm in Asava here. I can speak Sanu Dezua. Allah about the car, Allah about the sir, Allah about the sir.
Láfíà lọ.
Now you are speaking. Now you are speaking.
Yayaki.
Mu
Yaki.
gode Allah, mu gode Allah. Allah yana taimaka muna. Mu gode Allah. All right.
Yàrá.
All right. So you can see that I understand Hausa very well. I actually stay somewhere around the Niger State for good 13 years. So I can speak, I can try. All right. So I want to officially welcome every one of us to this platform called Digital Z Hub. For those of you that have been following us, you may not really know uh, what this platform stands for. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to be telling us about this platform so that when next you are asked or when there is anybody you feel that should learn tech skills or distance tech skill like this, there is a platform you can recommend. So Digital Z Hub is actually 100% online training platform. We focus only on technological training. We train on tech programs. Some of the program we can train you like this, just like the way you are attending. This is a live Zoom section. So this is actually a bit different from the traditional way of learning technology, which we some of us are already used to. Right? So just a minute, I'll be back. Sure. All right, so like I was saying, it's an online training, tech training platform. By the grace of God, I am the CEO. This platform was founded 3 years ago, or let's say 2 years plus. That is 2023. And we have made tremendous progress. Currently, we are training a lot of people from UK, US. Most of our students are international students, though we have some that we train from Africa continents, most especially Nigeria. All right, so this platform has everything it takes to equip us on cybersecurity, everything it takes to equip us on data analytics, data science, video editing, graphics design, Sage 50 for the accounting students, AutoCAD for engineering students, programming. Under programming, we have website programming, both front-end and back-end development languages are all available to learn on this platform. And then we have application development, which is Python. And of course, the Python empowerment training section will kickstart next week, Sunday, like I just announced. It was initially programmed to start February 7th. That is the one the teenagers are paying. That is the one the teenagers are paying 1,000 naira, while we are considering the adults who are interested to pay just 10,000 naira. The words of that class, because some of us may not really understand the intensity of that class, is an empowerment. We actually wanted to do it totally free, but we discovered that we needed at least a commitment from every individual that we join in order to keep some stability, in order to show some commitment. So it's not as if, so you can look at it, 1,000 cannot even cover what I'm going to teach you for one class. So, and for good 16 classes, learning Python from the very basic to intermediate, where you'll be able to build some games, where you'll be able to build apps, where you will understand the logic around programming. I don't think that 1,000 can actually buy that class, but it's just like, okay, let's see the level of, let's see at least 1% commitment of any student that we join. That is from the age of 18 to 22. So once you are above this age bracket, you are expected to pay 10,000 to join that class that will be starting next week, Sunday. If you calculate the date, I think the date will be properly calculated and updated probably through the group. We will update you on that. So if you have any loved one, this is actually an opportunity. I can tell you, this is an opportunity. If you're an adult here and you want to participate, I don't think 10,000 should be something that is difficult for good 16 programming classes. So don't hesitate to join. All right. So as you can see on the screen, these are some of the program we offer before I go into the training properly. And you want to reach out to us. We also have a website that ends with, let me correct it here. I think there was a typographical error. So you can reach out to us via our website at digitechz.com.ng. Then you can WhatsApp me directly on this number. And for those of us that are already in that group, you already have my other line. All right. So Mr. Tosi, if you can just unmute and tell us where you are joining from before we start right away. We are glad to have you here. Mr. Tosi?
I'm Tosi. I'm joining from, I'm in Ikorodu, Lagos State.
Wow, Ikorodu, Lagos State. I used to be in Ikorodu. You are welcome, sir. All right, so
thank you very much.
All right, so please, we are starting now, and you can keep inviting your friends, send the Zoom link to them while the class is going on till the next 1 hour plus. Okay, so that is all about GTZ. So I am Egwero Prosper, an IT consultant with not less than 20 years in developing human capacity in the area of technology. Currently, I'm actually the operational and the senior faculty at one of the reputable organization, which is known as NIT Asaba. So this is our online platform where we also train on some of those programs. We train people on sites. All right, so this session is free, and we organize it in order to give us background knowledge of the entire computer system, so that when we start the Python class next week, Sunday, we will all be on the same page. So some of the basic things that an average programmer should know before attempting programming, they are the one I am going to focus on in this section. Right? However, you can use the skill outside programming. You are here, you don't want to go for that programming. You can still be here because it will still help you to deepen your knowledge on the computer usage. So we're going to start with a general introduction to computer. General introduction to computer. So since this is a targeted training, why did I say it's a targeted training? This is a training that is organized in order to take care of the basic for the programming. So I'm going to pay more attention to what an average computer user should know. So I'm going to start with the definition of computer, as basic as that. You're going to start by understanding what is the computer. What is the computer system? So let's quickly dive in and see what it is. All right. So what is computer? So now, just to highlight some of the things it tend to take care of in this section, we will be learning in this section, as the time permits us, a general introduction to computer. Anybody who has joined should be able at the end of this training to understand what the computer is from today. Then we'll also look at what makes up the computer system. That is the parts that makes up what you and I describe as computer today. We'll get to know that. And then, of course, we will dwell much on understanding the Microsoft Windows as one of the application, as one of the software that constitutes most of the most valuable computer resources that a user must first of all understand before exploring application for specific tasks. And then we may not get to Microsoft Word, but I'm going to direct us to my YouTube page. I don't know, those of you that are here, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube page, I have over 340 master classes video across different aspects of computer already registered in that channel. So for you to connect to that channel, all you need to do, just go to your YouTube and search for Digital Z Hub. Search for Digital Z Hub on YouTube. You'll be able to connect, and then you subscribe so that you get subsequent updates like this. All right, so let's quickly look at what is computer. Let's start from that. What is computer? What is computer? So if at the end of this training, somebody approach you and asks you to define the computer, how are you expected to define it? What is computer system? What is computer? So that is the starting point of every computer user. You are meant to understand what you operate. You need to understand what you operate. The law of productivity of machines says that when you produce any machine, when it's given to the operator, the first thing the operator should understand is how to on it and how to off it. In other words, the producer is more interested in you understanding how to use that device or that machine. So the same thing we are trying to achieve here. So before we look at the approach, the practical approach, let's look at it from the theoretical perspective. What is computer? A computer is an electronic device. So if you understand what is called electronic, then you easily understand what we are saying. Electronic is any device that sources its power from electricity. So when you say an object or a device is an electronic device, you are saying that it receives its power from what? Electricity as a source. You and I know, being it laptop, because somebody may want to say that, well, laptop, you don't need to connect it to light. And then I ask you, how do you charge it? Because laptop has an inbuilt power retaining system. That is the reason why you have a battery inside. So what the battery does is to keep some power in the system that can allow you to work for some hours. But once the battery runs down, you are to go and what? Recharge it. And what will be the source? The same electricity. So laptops are mobile computers. They are mobile computers. Why desktop computer? They are stationary computer. They are all computer. All right. So the difference between them is what? The size and the mode of operating them. That is why I say laptop is a mobile. You can carry it around. And that is the model computer. All right. So let me go further with the definition. I said a computer is an electronic device that processes data and perform tasks according to a set of instructions known as what? Program. So let's simplify it here. Let's analyze that definition again. What are the keywords here? Processing. The word processing is derived from the engagement of an element in the system unit called the processor. You can never have the word processing without engaging the processor. So the processor must be in action for you to have what? Processing. All right. So that is why when I get to the part of computer, I will explain, I will expatiate better. All right. So we need to understand that every laptop that you are operating, every computer you are using has a brain. There is an element which is called the microprocessor that is built in the system unit. For those of us using laptop, your system unit is that part that is sitting on the table that has keyboard on top. That is your system unit. For those of us that are using desktop Dell, the one that set the keyboard, the mouse, the VDU, and the system unit under the table. The system unit, that thing that look like a rectangle that stand where you press the power button. All right, that is the what? The system unit. So that is where you have the processor. Now, there's another keyword I want to explain here. Processes data and perform tasks. One of the reasons why we must be computer literate today is because computer is multitasking. One computer can do the work of 10 people. And that is one of the things that has created unemployment that you see in most undeveloped countries or nations. The reason why you see people migrating to other countries like UK and the rest, because over there, everything is computerized. So there are jobs for everybody that have computer knowledge. But here in Africa continent, we still have a huge good number of persons that are not in the field, that does not even have 1% of computer knowledge. So just imagine this is a free training and some persons that are opportune to hear about this are not in. That is to tell you that the level of our development, the level of awareness. If I'm not mistaken, in our country here in Nigeria, beginning from this year, WAEC could be written with computer. And some parents are not bothered to take advantage of this kind of training. So when it's 2 weeks to, the child will now be rushed to a particular center, anyhow center, and start learning from Z to A instead of learning from A to Z. And at the end of the day, when that child is placed in front of a system on the examination day, you see the child being fidgeting. You see the child afraid of the computer itself. And before you see, whatever he or she have here must have jumped out. So training like this will have helped such a person to get him or herself ready to write any computer-based exam, which is known as CBT. All right? So in computing, there are terms that you need to understand. When you claim you are a computer literate, there are certain terminologies that we use within the field. When you go to hospital, there are terms the doctor uses, which you and I do not understand. That is your field. When you are in the field of computing, you need to also understand. When you are in IT, you need to understand some terms. So that is why I put that program in brackets. The word program means what? Set of instruction, commands. The Microsoft Office word that you operate, somebody, a programmer, create it like we are going to learn in our Python programming, where you can develop an app like that. You can decide to say you don't want to use Microsoft Word. You have programming knowledge. You want to create your text editor and customize it the way you want to use it. That is the collection of two or more words, collection of two or more instructions, which are known as program. All right. So it takes input as data. The computer we are talking about, how does it receive? Because we are talking about it processes data. The word data means what? Raw facts. Certain information in the world of computing that a user will feel that they are not up to standard. Therefore, he or she wants to reprocess. He or she wants to repackage. He or she wants to improve so that they can be used for the purpose at which they were intended to process. All right? So we refer to them as data. That is why they are called what? Raw information. Raw. So the computer can receive those type of information that are raw. That is what I'm trying to explain here. The computer can receive them. Why? Because there is a processor that is built within the system unit that can decode, that can encode and decode. All right, that can improve, that can process through the help of an application. For example, now Microsoft Word. So Microsoft Word is just like a text editor. It's just like an environment that is developed by a programmer for you to be able to what? To type and what? Manipulate character or text. So it provides you manipulating tools like bold, underline, and the rest of them. Because that is the purpose it was created for. All right? So the question is, how does the computer receive this information that need to be processed before usage? It receives them as inputs. As inputs. What do I mean by input? It means that what you give, you supply it. And there are devices like keyboard, like the mouse, like the scanner, like the joystick, the light pen, and the rest of them that are primarily designed to serve as peripherals. Peripheral means the minor part of the computer. One, peripheral means the hand and the leg, the assisting devices, the assisting parts of the entire system. So that is why we have the mouse to assist in giving instruction. We have the keyboard to assist in giving what? Letters and number to process. Okay, so each of those input devices have their own primary responsibility. They have their responsibility. They are existing to support. They are to contribute. And that's why this is called system. You see, sometimes professional like us does not call computer. So when I want to buy a computer, I say I want to buy a system. Why are you using system? You are using a system because You are using a single word to describe what 2 or 3 word things you want to buy at once. That is, when you use the word system, it means you are telling the engineer that you are not buying one thing. You are buying 2 or more devices that can be connected for a common goal. That is, the video should be there if it is desktop, the CPU should be there, the keyboard should be there, the mouse should also be there. I hope somebody is following. Can one person unmute and say, sir, I am getting your teaching? Just one person to unmute, just to get a feedback. I want to know if we are learning something, please. Just one person unmute and
I'm getting a teaching, sir.
thank you so much, Mr. Uchenna. So let's keep reaching out to our friends, please. If you have the privilege to tap in the group, please remind them. All right, so I'm still trying to simplify what the computer system is, because it is very important to understand it. All right, so it receives certain information as data which need to be improved, and then after receiving, what happened? Look at the next definition. Processing it using hardware and software and produces outcome. That outcome is called the information that can be stored or transmitted. That can be stored or transmitted. So there are 2 things here that can be stored or transmitted electronically. Let me put that word, electronically. So let's look at the computer processing cycle. We need to understand this very clearly. Where does it start from and where does it end? If I want to type, what you have on the screen was created with PowerPoint. I started from the input stage. That is where I engage the keyboard, the mouse to supply this and to modify it. That is the input. There is always a starting point called input stage, where you have the privilege of giving the computer whatever you want it to process. And then once you have given it, then it now hand it over to the next stage. The next stage is the processing stage. That is where you have the processor. That is where you have the random access memory holding it for the processor to process, which is known as RAM. And then once the RAM has completed that processing, and if a user feels that he or she want to access it in the future, the person would not take it from the RAM to what? To the ROM. So the ROM is the read-only memory. Now, the professional term to relate these 2 storages, the RAM and the ROM, is that one is volatile, the other one is non-volatile. A volatile means what? It can, volatile means that once there is no light, once the system is switched off, the content can be what? Loose. You may not have the content because the RAM is designed to hold whatever the processor is processing at that moment, provided the processor is active. And the processor can only be active when the system is on. So the moment you switch off your system, the processor goes off. And once the processor goes off, everything you have stored in the RAM, you no longer find them when next you switch on your system. That is why we say the RAM is a volatile storage. It cannot hold information permanently. It can only hold information temporary. Then the ROM is the non-volatile. Non-volatile means that what? It can retain information, it can store information even when the computer is switched off and switched on. So that is why if you have visited computer users, you will see where you hear them, saying, please Control S, save. Whenever you hear somebody saying Control S, that is the computer user that acknowledges the RAM and the ROM. So it's trying to be proactive. That is the person that do not trust the lights, or probably trying to be professional, because whether you trust your light or not, you are supposed to be saving consistently as you are working, because anything can happen. So let's get that right. So now that we understand that, let's quickly discuss some of the key features of this wonderful component, wonderful machine computer that we have spent some minutes talking about. Let's look at what came together to form it. That is the next topic, which is the key features of the computer. So let's quickly dive in. What are the key features of the computer? So that when next you use the system, you understand what came together to form it. So now remember, let's say the key feature here, I'm focusing on the characteristics, the attribute here, before we finally talk about the part of the computer. All right, let's talk about the characteristics first. When we say someone characteristics, that is someone's attribute. What does that person exhibit that makes that person who he is? And that will also explain some terms to us. The first one I want to explain is input. You cannot be talking about computer without understanding what an input is, like I just said. Input means receive data and instruction. Simple as that. So the act of giving data or instruction to the computer system is called what? Input. And the devices that are programmed to perform this giving of instruction and giving of data to the system, they are referred to as what? Input devices. Where those devices are connected, like where you plug your mouse, that USB, it is called the input unit. So you can see the difference between input unit and the input what? Device. There are two things. So the device is this, for example, this is an input device. Why? Because it's connected to what? A unit called what? Input. That is why if you check around your computer system, being it a laptop or desktop, check the side or the back, you will see what we call ports. And these ports constitute what we call basic input and output what? Ports. That is, there are ports that are used to connect devices that are used for sending data or instruction to the system. For example, USB, universal, that's universal serial what? Bus. Then, which is for connecting both. You can use to connect output devices like your printer, provided it has a USB connector. So that's why you see the name universal, so it can connect both. Then we have other ports there like the VGA. We have other ports there like HDMI. So there are a lot of ports that you can see there. All right, so I believe now I have also tried to mention some devices we can refer to as inputs that are connected to the input unit or input devices, keyboard, mouse, scanner, and the rest of them. So let's talk about the processing as one of the key features of the computer system. Processing uses the central processing unit known as CPU to perform calculation and logical operation. That is where we have the word ALU from. Did somebody have a message here? Let me see. Okay, so. All right. So we should always understand that there is a unit, which I mentioned the other time, that is in charge of encoding and decoding. The word encoding means what? To send. And decoding means what? To see. That is why all these DSTV, they use the word you buy their decoder. You buy their decoder. What are they saying? You buy their decoder. What it simply means is that you buy the receiving end. That is what it means. You are buying the receiving end. You are not buying the sending end. I hope somebody is following. You are not buying the what? The sending end. You are only buying the receiving end. You don't have control of what is sent, or you only see whatever you have access to. So when you subscribe, that's why they have different packages. Your subscription will determine how many data you can receive, how many stations you can receive. So let's talk about the output. The output means what? The output present the results. You see the computer cycle that I mentioned the other time. You start from giving, that is the input, then the processor takes it over and modify it, transform it, change it for better, and then you have an end that what? That gives it back to you. A practical example, if I ask us here now, it will look funny when you are asked to submit your application letter, you are looking for a job, and the next thing you type it on your system, you now carry that your laptop, and then go to the company and say, my application letter is in my laptop, so take the laptop. So it means that when you finish processing with the laptop, you are expected to send it to an output like a printer to print it for you. So that is where we have what? The output. Then let's look at the storage. One of the major attributes that makes computers are so lovely is because of its ability to hold information. Today we are holding on cloud. We are in the era of cloud storage, which is the computer. So the storage saves data and instruction permanently. Example of the storage is hard drive, SSD, and then we have the temporary, like I mentioned, the RAM. Remember that I've explained what the RAM is to us before now. So I don't think anybody here will accept those that just join. So let's talk about the automation. Automation, that is another attribute of the computer. Automation. I hope somebody is getting something. Please unmute and respond, at least one person. I need one person to respond, just for me to know that we are all getting what I am teaching. Just one person. Or should I call Matthew? Matthew, please, can you tell us if you are enjoying the class? Matthew, let me know if you are following. Matthew?
Actually, I'm enjoying the class so much. I'm science-based. In fact, I'm in engineering, so I'm getting all what you are explaining anyway.
Thank you so much. All right. All right, so let's proceed. Let's proceed. So I've already explained the full meaning of RAM, random access memory. The full meaning of SSD, because why I want to dwell on this, most of the computers that are out there now, starting from 8th generation, 10th generation, 12th generation, they are generation of SSD. Gradually, everything is graduating from HDD, that is hard disk drive, toward solid state drive. So what we know as SSD means what? Solid state drive. So when you go out there to buy a laptop next time, if you have the money, buy the one that comes with SSD. Is times 3 faster than the HDD. HDD is referred to as the old method now. We are gradually advancing into the SSD. So let's get that right. It's very fast. If you are using SSD system, you see the way once you click, you see it flying. All right. So that is to tell us that the computer has a storage. Now let's talk about the automation. Automation means works automatically once programmed. That is the reason why next Sunday class like this, which is going to be the very first, the one of the Python training. Remember, for those that are just joining, I said it's an empowerment training for the youths. Digitezi decided to be a blessing as the early of the year 2026 to set of youth. And we understand that our country is just implementing CBT to WAEC students and the rest. So this is our own way of carrying them along. If you check that training, if you check the course content of that training, we mentioned that they will be given background knowledge of computer, which is this. So for those of you that are here, you are privileged to witness it live. But this is the video that will be sent to them for those that are not here once they have registered for the Python class. I said teenager between the age of 18 to 22 are to pay only 1,000 naira. It's just a commitment fee. Then an adult that feel that he wants to become a programmer with Python programming language, you just have to pay 10,000 naira to join those 16 classes. And I can tell if you're an adult, just take advantage of that window. My Python class, if not for promo, I charge 150,000 to train you on those 16 classes. And that is what, because some adults reach out to us when we started advertising it, that please, can I join? That is why we decided to say, okay, let them join and pay just 1,000. But if you are between 18 to 22, it costs you just 1,000 naira for 16 good classes on Python. And you may not even need to be trained anywhere again on Python. After that class, you will be able to see the tangible apps you'll be able to develop, and then you will now become a programmer. So please, let's tell our friends, it's going to start Sunday like this, but it will be probably, I think we are thinking of 8 to 10 so that a lot of people can join. All right. So let's proceed. So we are still talking about the key features of the computer system. So the next one I want to explain is the versatility of the computer. You see, this is one of the things that is taking the job from an average people. And let me explain this to you. I'm a computer mentor. I have a lot of institutions that I mentor. I have individuals that I've trained. I've trained over 6,000 people across Nigeria and and the universe. So I can tell you practically why some people are saying that there's no job, because they don't know the opportunity in tech. Though recently individuals are beginning to switch. They're beginning since COVID-19. Most of them are beginning to realize that tech is the way to go. Soft skill. This is my remote platform. I still have a physical place where I go and teach as a consultant. It doesn't stop me. Tomorrow, early morning, 7 a.m., I'm out to go and teach. And then in the evening, I am here. So you can see the way working here, working there. So computer is very versatile. It's very versatile. It works automatically once programmed. That is why the bedrock of the entire tech that you see today is rooted in programming. You see, sometimes I will always advise people, if you want to be good, don't keep programming, learn programming. Even though you don't want to learn programming to professional level, try as much as possible to learn it to 30 to 40%. It has a way of rooting you better. It has a way of solidifying you better. In other words, because programming will challenge you. Programming will increase your creativity. Programming will increase your problem-solving ability, if not for money. If you learn programming, if all you gain is for you to know how to solve problems, who are the people that are earning today in tech? Problem solvers. Not people that are conversant or are comfortable with simple things. Some will learn Microsoft Word and stop there. If we are to carry out an analysis out of, let's say, 100 people that knows computer, you are going to get 90 people that know Microsoft Word. So if there is any job opportunity, imagine 900 people, or let's say 90 people vying for it. The challenge, the competition is going to be high. So that is why a person like me, I love going for those things, those areas that are very difficult, because you have few persons there. And when there is job opportunity, we will grab it. We'll grab it. So can perform versatility. Computer can perform many what? Computer can perform many tasks, many types of tasks. All right. You can use it to process words. You can use it for gaming. You can use it for internet browsing. Engineering students will use it to draw using AutoCAD. One of these days, I'm still going to organize training on that, because I can train on AutoCAD 2D and 3D. So a computer, in summary, before we leave this topic, a computer is a data processing machine that converts raw data into useful information, period. Is a data processing machine that can convert raw data into useful information. So if there is no question, then we'll now quickly go to part of computer. So remember where we started from. We started from understanding what the machine is. For those that have just joined, make sure that you watch the video. I'm going to upload the video to our official YouTube page and drop the link in that group that you are in. So make sure that if you miss the beginning part, you watch it, because there I define computer. So let's quickly dive into understanding the part of computer. Let's look at various parts holistically that makes up the object you and I are enjoying today as computer system. That is why I use the word system, because it's not just one part. So here, to avoid wasting of time, I group these parts and I give them a categorical name. So parts, the entire computer. If after this class you make your research, you discover anyone, if you register in my Python class or Sunday, you can object me. You can say, sir, I discovered that there's another part. Everything today that is within the world of IT, world of computing, will be traced or can be traced to the three parts I want to explain with this diagram. So the entire computer system can be broken into hardware, software, and humanware. Hardware, software, and humanware. Now let's break it down. The hardware are the physical parts you can see and touch. If you are in the computer lab or you are in front of your laptop, that very part you can see and touch should be grouped under what we call what? The hardware. So example of the hardware, we have the visual display unit, which a layman calls monitor. As a computer professional, you don't call it monitor. You call it VDU, visual display unit. All right. So the screen that is allowing me to see the images of the app that I'm using, including you that joined this class and this slide, is called the VDU. This is a unit that visualizes what the computer is processing at the background. It is almost impossible for you to manage the computer without this unit active. Because you ask yourself, how are you going to monitor? You cannot see the reason where the word monitor is derived from. How are you going to monitor what the system unit, the brain of the computer, is processing at that time? Another example of the hardware that you can see and touch is the mouse. All this, now, this hardware unit or hardware group can now be further divided into two. We have the basic, we have the optional. Everything I'm talking is in the diagram. We have the basic and then we have the optional. The basic means what? The compulsory parts. It's almost impossible for you to use a computer efficiently without involving the mouse. It's almost impossible for you to use the computer effectively without involving the keyboard. I know there are alternatives. You can use the on-screen keyboard and type, but now we'll ask you the speed. Can you compare it with when you are using the hardware keyboard? The answer is no. So we also have the system unit, which is part of the basic hardware, which is known as the CPU. I think I've talked about it before. Then under the optional, we have the printer, we have the scanner, we have the speaker, we have the projector. All these are part of the computer hardware, but under what? Optional. Why are they referred to as optional? Because they can be done away for some time. Right now, printer is not connected to my system, but I'm using it. So I only bring in the printer if I feel I want to convert soft copy to what? Hard copy. All right. So just want us to get that. Now let's quickly talk about the computer software. The word software means instructions, means commands. All right. It's just like you have a child in your room. That child is physically present. But until you say, please get me water, the child will remain where it is. So that is why in the world of computing, you have to buy the hardware first, which is the physical part, the mouse, the keyboard, and everything, set them up. Then if you don't install programs, which are now what? The software, the computer will remain what? Dormant, will not do anything for you. So those hardware that you must have purchased, the VDU, the system unit itself, requires instruction to be commanded to do something tangible for you. So those sets of software that you install after buying the hardware, they are called the software. They are called the programs. All right. So we're going to break them down in the Windows section. I pray I should get to the computer Windows aspect. So we need to understand that we have software. They are set of programs. And that is why when you go for an interview, because I do have an opportunity to recruit staff for companies, and I interview their staffs. Some of the questions that I ask to know how vast they are, they can ask you the next time you go for interview. Somebody can decide to ask you, what are the programs you can use in the computer? And you could be expecting the person will have asked you, what are the applications? The word programs and app mean the same. Remember, I said software means what? Programs. The person is directly or indirectly wanting to know from you, what are the instructions you can communicate, you understand. For example, now Microsoft Word is a program with a collection of what? 2 or more word instructions for word processing. Microsoft Excel is a program with a collection of 2 or more words instruction on how to handle what? Data or record and perform calculations as well. All right. AutoCAD is a program with a collection of what? Instructions for engineering drawing, being it electrical engineering, being it civil engineering, being it mechanical engineering, provided it's engineering that require engineering drawing, and so on. All right. So let's break this software. The software in computer can be divided into 2 again. We have the application software, and then we have the system software. The diagram has also explained that. The application software are software that are created or developed for a specific task. Your WhatsApp is an example of what? Application software. The major reason WhatsApp was developed is what? For instant communication. Sorry, just a All right, guys. Sorry for that. I just have to attend to something briefly. Okay, so I was still on the software. I've explained the application software. So these are software that are developed for unique purpose or maybe certain tasks like Word, like I've mentioned. They will now also have another set of software which are created for the system. We can also refer to them as the computer software. You can refer to them as the computer software. So these are software that are dedicated for the management of the computer as a machine. That is where we have the operating system like Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11, Linux. All these are operating systems. They are purely computer software. They are purely computer software. All right. So so these are the two categories of softwares. Now, the principal software that must be installed first is the operating system. That's why when you buy a system, you cannot start by installing Microsoft Office or Mavis Beacon or CorelDRAW without installing the operating system. Is the base software. Other softwares are installed on top of it. Is the one that gives them instructions. All right, the Microsoft Word you are using receive instruction practically from the operating system. So let's quickly talk about the computer people's way. So this talks about different individuals, professional, you and I, that contribute to the activities or the management of the computer. So we can break them down based on the career aspect, what they specialize on. We have some that are called computer operators. Computer operators. Computer operators, these are people that use this computer on a daily basis. Every one of us are expected to become operator before advancing to that professional aspect that we are. Because until you start by understanding how the computer is being managed, if you become an engineer, there are some things you will not be able to handle. So everybody that uses the computer to carry out one or two things is referred to as what? Computer operator. But where we find them most, company need this set of people most time in numbers. Where we find them most is the banking system. You see them, all those people that the cashier, whatever, the people that attend to you when you have issue with your bank, whatever, they are all computer operators. The main organs, then they are at the back. You will not see them, they are in their offices. All right. So it's one of the least in terms of ranking. They are the least personnel in the world of computer. That is where you start from. That is they refer to as elementary. Everybody is supposed to pass through that. They are the less paid individuals, but sometimes they work more than the professional. That is why when you have done the basic, try and have a professional knowledge. Like I told us that time when I started or in between, I said, if you want to prosper in IT, don't stay where you have too much people. And you always find too much people in those areas, those domains that are very simple to learn. And that will increase the competition. All right. So try to stretch yourself to go into the critical aspect of tech, where there are few individuals that are available. So when the job comes, everybody grab it. And then when you nail your price, you will still be what? Hired. But when you are in just computer operator class, if you don't want to do, the next person is ready. And that's why you see their salary is very poor, because the company's owner, they know that what there are more people of this category that are out there. So if one person is not ready to do it, another person will be positioned immediately. But just imagine you are looking for a data analyst. You are looking for a cybersecurity expert. You are looking for an autocalist. These are not more courses. These are courses that require some level of seriousness. These are courses that require some level of sacrifice. These are courses that require some level of what? Sleepless night. You have to wake up at night to study. You will not see an average people going there because they love too much sleep. They love to sleep too much. They cannot wake up by 2 a.m. and read. But that is where the money is. That is just the truth. That is where the money is. You want to do remote job today, cybersecurity, data analytics, graphic design. These are some of the lucrative aspects that you can be easily worth freelancer. All right. So we have some that are called programmers. We have programmers. Programmers are like those that will join my Python class this next Sunday now. They will end up becoming a programmer. Solid one for that matter, because they are going to be taken from the basic. They're going to be taken properly, not jumping from one place to another. We grow together. These are people who write code, who create. In fact, everything that you see today in technology, they are developed by programmers. If you take programming out of tech, there's nothing like technology. That is just it. So programming will never die, no matter how, because it's the backbone of the entire technology that you and I are enjoying today. We have instructors. Instructors are people like us that are gifted in the area of teaching, imparting the knowledge. Once we learn it, we can impart it. We are the one multiplying these computer skills. However, I'm an instructor and I'm also in service. If this one doesn't come, that one will come. That is one thing in tech. If you want to travel out there, don't learn only one tech skill, because there are so many jobs, and the number of hours you work there, they are minimum. You can do 2 hours in a place, collect salary, do another 2 hours with another test skill, do another 2 hours with another test skill. But when you go there with one, then you'll be trapped. Then we have the administrators. These are people who administer. You see them like supervisor and the rest. So ladies and gentlemen, I have dwelled much on the general computing. So the next few minutes, I am going to spend it on Microsoft Windows introduction, which is practical. Now, what I'm doing since is to get us to understand what the computer as an electronic device is all about, to give you some foundation. Now, once you understand the computer, what is the next thing you should do? What is the next approach? The next approach is for you to start managing it. And for you to manage it, you have to go through the Microsoft window, which I refer to as the operating system under the system software. So let's quickly dive in there and see what we have there. So I'm going to start with the introduction also. What is Microsoft Windows? What is Microsoft Windows? So I believe I have some individuals here. I have individuals here probably that understand what Microsoft Windows is, but I'm going to assume that we don't know. You see, in your house, there is a first gate. Let me give you, I like teaching with concrete evidence that even if you wake up from sleep, they ask you, okay, you can link it. In your house, there's first gate. Let's say, if you don't pass through that gate, you cannot access the facilities in that building. That is how the Microsoft window is. A lot of us do not understand when they start learning from Microsoft Word without going through the Microsoft Windows. It's very dangerous. If I have an opportunity to counsel you as somebody who wants to go into computing, I must mandate you to understand the Microsoft window. Start from what I have been telling us. Start from the computer appreciation. That is what I just ended. Understand what the machine is. Understand its characteristics. Understand its part. Now, when you want to take your practical step, you start from the window, the first gate. You cannot explore any application on the system without going through the Microsoft window. The Microsoft window is what is professionally known as the operating system. Let me break it down. The operating system. Look at the word operating system. I will use you as an example. There's a way you operate. We all have different mode of operation. Some of us will wake up by 3 a.m. 3 a.m. I'm awake. Cannot have a tech professional snoring from 8 p.m. till the next day 7 a.m. except you just decide to rest. Most professional research in the nights. That's where you have good network. That's where everywhere is quiet. Everybody want to go into tech. You think you just go into tech, you start making money. You have to sacrifice time and be good. Go beyond where the average people stops. That's where the money is. So Microsoft Windows is an operating system which is abbreviated to what? OS. Developed by Microsoft Corporation. Who is Microsoft Corporation? If I ask you to unmute now and tell me who is Microsoft Corporation, I know some of us will not understand what it is or who he is. I could remember last 5 to 7 years ago, he was the richest man in the whole world. And I can tell you how he makes his money. Because of time, I will have allowed some persons to unmute and tell me whether they know who is the founder of Microsoft Corporation, Bill Gates. You know, just of recent, I think it was Amazon that took over. After Amazon, one person took over again, and now is what? Mark Watts, the owner of Facebook, the owner of WhatsApp. So you can see how Microsoft has a vision. And the vision is that what? In every house in the world, in every house, there must be one computer. And I ask you now, you can see that the man is almost achieving his own vision. Every house, there must be one computer. Gradually, it's getting there. So he created a software that acts as the operating system that guides you and I on how to manage the computer itself. Hello? If you purchase a car, let me break it down for you like this. You purchase a car and you have not learned driving. That car is going to kill that person. What is the right thing you should do? You learn driving. You become the driver. The driver of the entire system is the operating system, the window. That's why I told us then that is the first software to install. It's the one that other software are installed on top of it. So you consult an engineer to set up your system. Part of what it's going to do is to install the operating system, drive it, install application, depending on the area of your activity that will determine the application he or she will install for you. So we need to understand that there is what we call what? Window. So just to break it down in your understanding as a beginner, it provides a user interface and allow users to run application that is encapsulates in what I just explained. So at this point, I'm going to switch from here and go to the window interface and start looking at some of the practical. At this point, so I'm going to be showing us a few things on the Windows, things you need to know, particularly those of us that are preparing or that we enroll in the Python class. Pay attention to some of these things because I'll be using them while coding. Most of these things, but I will not pay attention to them. That is the reason why I have to dedicate this free session to train you, to get you acquainted to the system. I wouldn't want somebody joining that class asking questions like, where do I click? How do I open up? What I'm going to be doing is that I'll be referencing them to this video because it will be uploaded on our YouTube page. Go there, make sure you subscribe. Recommend the YouTube channel to your friends. It's very resourceful, I can tell you. This is not about marketing. I know the quality of classes that are loaded there. All right. So this environment you are seeing right now, the whole of this is the Microsoft Windows we are talking about. Is the operating system. This is the user interface. You know, let me explain something. The word window. Some of us do not really understand what is called window. Window is the portion of an application or software that you can see on the computer screen at that time you are operating it. For example, the interface, what we are seeing right now, is accredited to Microsoft. That is why I'm saying what? Microsoft window. So when I open PowerPoint, it now becomes what? Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, what? Windows. So this is Microsoft Windows, and this is the operating system. This is like the manual when you buy a new device that is given to you to learn how that machine should be managed if you want to increase the lifespan of that device. But in this case, it's given to us as software instruction, as a software that we have to install. So once you have a system and you have your Microsoft window installed, you are expected to know how to manage the computer through it. So you don't need HP to come all the way from UK or US. You don't need Dell to travel down. You don't need Toshiba to travel down. You don't need Acer to travel down. You don't need the manufacturer to come down. So they knew that the operating system constitutes all the required steps required to manage that device. So all you need is to consult people like us, instructor that has been trained on your behalf by this company to explain. So what I'm doing right now, just like I'm standing in gap because I've been trained years ago on how to manage the window. And that is what I'm explaining to us. All right. So let's quickly look at the few things you need to know regarding to the management of the window.
She went out.
So what are the few things? What are the knowledge I am expected to have as a computer user on this window? The first knowledge you are supposed to have is the icon management of the window. So what we call icons, Daniel, control your video. You need to turn it off, distracting others. Daniel, control your video. Perfect. Right. So the whole of these pictures you are seeing, all these that I'm touching, they are called icons. And what is the definition? Icons are graphical representation of either a folder, a program, or a file created with those programs. Now I'm going to take us through them. You see this one that have yellow picture, all this one, they are folder. All this one, they are folder. So a computer basic user should know what is a folder. A folder is just like that your room that you are in that house. And you partition a place. Maybe you partition your bedroom with a curtain and store something there just for you to isolate them from other things for easier retrieval. That is a folder. So it's just like the whole of this desktop environment now is a storage within the system in which a user can decide to segment his or her information. For example, now you can see I say editing sound. because I'm a video editor, so I downloaded some sound, and I don't want them to be scattered everywhere. So I save them here. So whenever I'm editing video, I come here and I double click on it, and then it shows me what I have there. So what am I trying to do now? I'm trying to be what we call computer information management or manager. I'm trying to separate my file so that whenever I need them, I can easily get them. A computer literate should know that. You shouldn't work in an office where your boss is asking for customer's file. That is when you are now looking, where is it? You're supposed to have created a folder and package all the customer's information there. Create another one, admin data. Put all your admin information in another folder. That is how you work with your system as a professional. So you can see all these are folder. A basic computer user should know how to differentiate an icon representing a folder from an icon representing a program. Now look at it. This is Mozilla Firefox. This is an icon representing a program. A program from the first lecture. A program from the first lecture. I say a program means what? Application. A program means application. A program means software. So this is an application. This is a web explorer, a web browser, a vehicle that we use in exploring the web, a vehicle that we use in digging the web for information. This is another web application. This is graphics software, CorelDRAW. All right. This is Oracle VirtualBox. This is an application we use in setting up a virtual lab for performing ethical hacking. This is the application we are going to use on Sunday for those that have registered for the Python class, PyCharm. All right. So you can see there, this is the Zoom app. Remember, I told us that if an icon is not representing a folder, it's representing a program. So I've identified two. The next one is an icon could be representing a file. Look at this. This is an icon representing a file. Let me show you. When you go for an interview, they can give you a system and tell you, identify an icon representing a file. How do you know? Now, this is a descriptive name, Prosper, and it carried the application logo. This is Microsoft Word, which tells me that this file was created with an app called Microsoft Word. Now here, this is an image. This is a JPEG image. Now let me check another one. Let me check another one. Let me check another one. This is data 2. This is an icon representing a file created with Microsoft Excel. How do I know? Because this is Microsoft Excel icon. So if you are conversant with different applications, you will know their logo. So once you see a file carrying their logo, you will know where the file was created. So ladies and gentlemen, that is how you understand. We are still on the skills needed to manage the operating system, which is the window we are talking about. And the first one is icon management skill. That is where I am still digging on now. So I've just showed us how to differentiate different icons. So the next skill I want to show us is that, look at the way my window is. I deliberately left everything like this because I can decide to rearrange. You can see this. The window is crowded with too many information. I can tidy up my room to make it look more organized. So I will now create a folder. You can see it now. So I can come here and create a folder. Right click on an empty space where there is no icon. Just right click. I believe you know when I say right click, press the right button on the mouse and then go to a new and select folder. Then you give that folder a descriptive name, a name that when looking at it tells you what you have there. So I can say, okay, all. I can say all. I prefer using cap lock so that I can easily find it. all work, just for example. So what do I want to do? I want to rearrange, and that will take us to what? How to move Windows icon. That is the next topic now. One of the skills you need to manage your window is what? How to move icons. So you know that icons are not fixed. For the fact that this icon is currently here do not mean that it must be here. You can decide to say, okay, I want to move it here. You can decide to say, I want to move it here. How am I doing that? I am clicking, I'm placing the mouse pointer on the icon, then I'm holding down the left button on my mouse and then dragging it until I get to where I want to drop it, and then I drop. But what I want to do now, check what I'm going to do now. I created a folder, so I will drag this and make sure that it touches that folder I have saved inside. This one also, no, this one is popular icon that I'll be using. This one, drag it. Once it touches that folder, it goes in there. This one, once it touches that folder, it goes in there. So you can see the way I am turning up my window now, things that does not matter. Or maybe if I don't even want it at all, I can delete it from the system. So if I discover that there are things that I don't want them to distract me from accessing my major work, I can package them in one folder just like I'm doing now. I can package them in one folder. So you can see if I open this folder now by double clicking on it, and then it shows me those things that we dropped in there. All right. So another skill you need to have in managing your window as a computer usage or user rather is for you to know how to delete things that you do not want. At some point, some things can be obsolete, some things can expire, you don't need them. You don't need to keep such in your system, because keeping them, you are unnecessarily engaging, consuming the storage space. And one day the computer will tell you that what? The memory is filled up. And when you wait, let me tell you the implication of that. Everything you delete, the shadow of it is still in your system. I don't have time to break down that for you. So when you format a system, you move them to shadow. Every drive has shadow and the active session. So when you format the system to like 6 times, the hard drive will crash because you have used all the sector. If you want to understand that, any day I advertise for system engineering training, you join that section. So what I am saying is that you should know that any file that is no longer valuable, clear them off. So everything that I kept here, indirectly, I don't think I need them. Let me check. Everything I kept here, I don't need them. So if I want to delete, what I will simply do is to right click on it. This is how you delete icon. But what I'm doing right now is folder. So once you right click on it, select delete, and then it goes off. Now, when you delete from your flash drive, you cannot recover it from the system. But if you delete from the system, anything you delete from document, from desktop, you can always get it back from what? Recycle bin. So go to recycle bin. If you know the name, this is what we just deleted now. So if I want to restore it, all I need to do is to click on it, right click on it, and select what? Restore. And then it goes back to where it were originally. And then it may not come to exactly where you kept it, but it will definitely what? Be around here. So the next skill that you need to manage your Microsoft window is how to fix the icon, how to arrange the icon, because when they are scattered just like the way they are now, you can see the way everything is distractive because the icons are not properly arranged. So how do we arrange the icon? All we need to do is to right click on an empty space, then go to what we call sort. Then from sort, which means arrangement, then you can sort by name, you can sort by size, you can sort by item type, you can sort by the date at which you touch them or you make use of them. But the best one is this. Now look at it. As soon as I click, all the scatter icon arrange themselves automatically. Now I want you to observe something. When you sort by name, the way it's going to prioritize the arrangement to be different. Look at what you have now. You have the program. You have what? The folder. And then you have what? File. Now, let me go back and right-click, select sort, and then select what? By size. And by what? The space they are using. Now, what do you have? You now have file now. You now have folder. You now have this. So it depends on individual. which of these will you want to be seeing first? If you are the type that prioritizes seeing your file icon, then you arrange by size. If you are the one that prioritizes by item folder come first. So I think you are getting the logic. Followed by words and then end with file. So it's up to you. So if I use by date modifier now, it will now give a priority to what? These are the icon, these are the file you just use. So it's based on what? The history of usage that will determine what? The arrangement. But I prefer using what? Either name or what? Type. All right. So I want somebody to unmute and tell us how he or she is faring with this training. Just for 1 minute. Just say something about the class so far, how you are enjoying it. If you are not enjoying it, feel free to say it. Just one person. If nobody is willing to talk, I will just call name. I think I have a Ifa Joel. Welcome. You joined late. You're welcome to Digital Z Hub. So Daniel, can you just unmute and tell us 1 or 2 things about how the class is impacting you? Just briefly. Daniel, if you can hear me. If Daniel cannot hear me, any other, I think I've heard from Matthew. That's why I don't want to go that route. Daniel, okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, what I've learned is that I've learned how to resize and arrange the icons on my desktop. Then I've learned the various types of data storage, the icons, the processing, input and everything.
Wow.
Then I've learned how my systems is flashed and how the programs are still there and how to remove it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. That's to show that we are actually following. Nice one. So please keep recommending this platform. This platform is rich. Like I told us before, this platform is rich. If you need professional training, this is the place to get it. And the good thing is that we can be trusted. We have been trusted by many. We can be verified. The company is registered with Corporate Affairs Commission. We are registered with Nigeria government. We are empowered to give certification. Peradventure you want internationally recognized certificates, you can also consult us. We form alliance with a body that can offer you through us. So feel free to consult us for any program, data analytics, data science, cyber security, graphic design, programming, web development. All of this program, we have them here. And we are hoping to add more in this year, 2026. But the ones we have, we teach them very well, and our students can attest to that. All right, so we are rounding up now. We are rounding up gradually because the class was end by 8 p.m. as promised. And like I said, for those that are willing to register for the Python training that will be starting next Sunday as against the initial announced date, February 7. It will no longer start February 7. We have already registered a reasonable number and we want more. We thought that it's going to take us long, but we have already individuals who have registered, who have been moved to the registered group. We encourage to have more. Our Zoom can take as much as 100 people per section. And we are targeting, if you want to register, you register on time, because once it's 100, we close that window. We don't want to go beyond 100 so that we don't have to start splitting because it's a programming journey. So we don't want to duplicate the classes. So like I said, for adults that are interested, adults are supposed to pay for the full package, which is 150,000, but just pay 10,000 naira and take advantage of the teenager empowerment and get trained on Python. So this is an opportunity. 10,000 you cannot even, a day you spend more than 10,000. So this is an opportunity for you to launch yourself into tech world with a very strong programming background. I can tell you that for free. So go to our YouTube at Digitech Zeal Hub, Digitech Zeal Hub. Go there and subscribe. Recommend that YouTube for your friends. Like I said, we have over 300 plus videos that we have. Just imagine 2 years plus alone. We have trained people. All those videos you are seeing there, they are videos, which means that we have organized training like this 340 something times. So that is enough for you to confirm us. After this class, this same video will be added there, and that is how we got those videos you are seeing there. So we are verified and you can trust us. All right, so just round up. One more thing I want to teach us is if peradventure you want to hide the icon, you just decide not to make these icons available to people around you for certain reason. Maybe this could be an important file that somebody looking at the name might want to open it. So you can turn off, you can hide all these icons temporarily. Why I'm teaching us all this is that, like I told you, that I help company to recruit staff. I help company to recruit staff. And sometimes these are the kind of questions I use when the number is overwhelming and I want to eliminate some persons. I ask simple questions that will take off some persons before we get to the main practical. Somebody can just ask you, okay, if I don't want to delete this icon, I just want to hide them temporarily. How do I go about it? You right click on an empty space. All right, so you go to view. From view, you go to desktop, show desktop icon. Why do you are seeing them? Because look at it, the option is active. You can see the check button. So if I click on it, all the icon disappears. So what it means is that somebody can boot the system next time and then be waiting for the system to complete the booting. Meanwhile, the system has already completed the process. So how do you know if somebody set you up like this? You right click. Once you right click and you get this option, instead of the loading icon, it means the computer is not booting. The computer is fully ready for usage. If the computer is loading, as I right click now, what you are going to get is something like this, rolling, rolling, rolling. In as much nothing like that, it means the computer is ready. So all you need to do is to go back to that same view, and then you click on that option, the icons what comes back. So any question, this is where I stop. I think recently I organized 3 days free training where I explained probably beyond this on the Windows, and I also talk about Microsoft Word basics. I also talk about Microsoft Excel. So if you want to learn those, want to have access to those videos, you can private chat me. I can send you the 3 links that will take you to where you can watch good 2 hours and thereabout that I spent on Word. Took my time to explain a lot of how to process a lot of things about Word. I also explain about Excel. Or you go to the YouTube page at Digital Zeal Hub. And then when you get there, you will see free training, day 1, day 2, day 3. Watch those videos, and then those videos will impact you. All right, guys. So if there's no question, I want to see us in the Python programming class. Start registering. If you have not been added to the group, if you have not been added, probably you come across this video and you are not in the group where we are updating people on the Python class. If you are interested, you want to join, just kindly WhatsApp me on this number. Right away, I will respond to you. WhatsApp me requesting that you want to join the 16 Python classes that covers everything about basic, intermediate, and then if you skate through this basic and intermediate, immediately we activate the advanced, and then you continue until you complete the program. So, and if you don't partake in the basic and the intermediate, you cannot join us into the advanced, where you will now be able to build Python, a graphical application user interface. All right, so if there's no question, like I said, you can contact us via our website. on www.digitechseedhub.com. Lot of programs are on the way. Very soon, I'm going to announce a free session for data analysis. So just keep tuning in. If you are in the group already, make sure you don't leave that group. I pity people who leave the group because we come up with so many exciting training. And one thing about that Python training is that the best students will be going home with cash gifts, which we also advertise. So please make sure that you propagate the information. Tell your friends, tell people, share the link, the group link with friends to join that platform where we will continue to feed you with information. So we came to our time. Thank you for joining. So my name again is Egwero Prosper, an IT professional with not less than 20 years building individuals and organization in the world of technology. So see us next time. Bye for now, and God bless you.